right, so now we're gonna do the front panel. The front panel is gonna be a little bit unique. No drilling in the front, but we do have to take apart this. So I don't know if it's too dark. We may have to get some lighting, and if we do, we do. But once we got one side, again, this is the part where we have to grab the other side. There you go. Well, we're gonna do one more. We're gonna put a flashlight. Okay. Let's see. Let's target this one. This one's a little bit higher up, so we'll see. You tell me if the lighting's good. Better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use this to just pick it slightly open, not too much, so that you can see. For me, it's super dark. It's okay, because so I got one side out. It's already out. You can kind of see. Now, remember, I know it's the opposite side that has the same clips. So I have this, my top is on one side. So while I'm rotating, I'm gonna go grab the other clip. So I'm on it right now. So here's the other side. It's literally, it takes time, and I know it's not, and I'll show it a little bit better later. Just like I'm gonna maybe cut a hole into a cardboard box and I put it on the ground and show you on a cardboard box how to do it. But right now, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna pop this all out as quickly as I can, and then we'll conclude from that. So you can just kind of that. All right, so the emblems are designed to route directly through. We're not using the stems anymore for guidance. So really, you're just gonna put your wires through. Gonna lift up the hood. Grab the wire out. Try to have a friend who has really skinny fingers to grab this. That usually helps. I'm gonna go route it through. Now we're not going to immediately attach it to it yet. We're just gonna trial it. So John's gonna hold on to, actually we're good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some blue tape. I love blue tape, as you can tell. Painter's tape, as I call it. I'm just gonna go ahead for right now, because I don't want the emblem to be flying around. Just sit, so we know it's secure. Now, you might be asking, well, what are we doing from here with this wire now? So what I plan to do is to get from here through underneath all the way down to that hole right there, John. Not too bad, right, John? Not too
Bingo.
bad.
Bingo. Bingo.
So we got it through.
Perseverance.
So what we're gonna do, we have to get the wires all the way to the headlight. So I include a module for people. The module is this. This allows you to adjust the brightness of the lights. John's gonna want his super bright, so I really, this doesn't really help him because it's gonna be the brightest to begin with. But what it does is that it adds length and it gets to this. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. Now, before we even start connecting wires, close that off.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that way we can. So to disconnect the headlight, we're gonna get a closed zoom of this. Get a flat screwdriver. We're gonna put it right at this angle. I'm gonna put this, yeah. Right, you lift it up. We'll do it again. We're gonna lift it up underneath. It clicks off. Once it clicks, you pull back. Disengages. Okay. So that's how you open it up. And why do we need to open up? Because we need access to the low beam wire and the ground. The other step that we need to do is you need to take off this guard. To do so, you pinch. Pinch on both sides and then pull. That's the only way. Don't try to pull it out. You have to pinch. Once you pinch, you can open up all these little inserts that are clipping on. And I'll show you what the inserts look like. Because that's what really kind of collectively holds this in place. It's really not holding the wires, concealing it. Let's take a look at this really closely. Remember, I'm gonna try to redo how it's done. You pinch, pull, and then unclip all these little hooks inside as well, and then it disengages. Put this aside, don't lose it. It may look cheap. Hyundai charges a lot for that. Now, this is a 20 pin type 1 connector. Type 1 connectors are typically for limited trims. The SCL and SC trims has 14 connectors. So what does that mean? Really, it doesn't mean anything. Your connector may look different, but the access to them is the same. So if there's different wire and coloring, that's why. But the most important thing you need to understand is you need to connect 12 volt, which is our red wire to blue. Blue is low beam, also known as pin 1. Go ahead. See if that, is that better?
Got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks good. Pin 1 is blue. Notice how there's another blue under there? That is not the blue you want. Others have connected that incorrectly. The far right is ground, is the one that ground that we want. So pin 1, blue, pin 4, black. Those are exactly what we need to connect to. How do we get access to that? Well, I would highly recommend, like I did earlier, we're gonna cut back on this tape. Be very careful when you're cutting back on tape. The reason is because the wires, they're bunched up, and you definitely don't want to inadvertently cut wires. You have to cut back a good, say, at least a good 1.5 inches to get really good access, because we don't want our cables to be, unfortunately, impacted. So here I am trying to get access, cutting. This is just tape, by the way. I mean, I'm not, just so you know, it's nothing unique about this. They're just tape, but this is how they conceal the wire. And what I'm doing right now is giving myself plenty of room to do my favorite tapping. So again, pin 1 is blue. Track your blue. This is my blue line. See how it gets super close to the other one? That's how you can make a mistake. We're not going to make a mistake today. I'm going to open it up. This is the blue that we want. How do I know? Because if you look back, it crosses and touches pin 1. We're going to grab it as low as we can so that we can put the connector back easier. And then we're just screwing it in and the wire pinches. Pin 4 is now what we're targeting for ground. Pin 4 is here. So this is the ground. So luckily for us. And then it's probably easier as well if we try to have it the same angle for the purposes of getting the wire in. And then lastly, we now have these wires. As I said earlier, we're gonna put in the module. I like using the module. It's really an added benefit. So what we're gonna do is gonna strip down the wires and add in the module. Go ahead. Just make sure you have the right side for the module for the power. Last thing you want to do is connect the lighting side to the incorrect side. Okay, so we have these wires. So the module has plus minus LED, plus minus 12 volt. The one that says plus minus 12 volt, that one goes here. That one's get tapped because it's 12 volt. The LED is where you're going to connect this wire. So what we have to make sure is to identify which wire is which before we tap. It's fine, we can do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pinch this through. We have, for all intent and purposes, our orange is our Yeah, our orange is our power. So actually, can you pause it really quickly? I'm gonna call this really bug.
Okay, we're back.
All right, so I'm basically connecting my wires. So basically power to power again to my connector module. And what I'm doing is just sliding my module back in so it's nice and tight. Crimping the wire. Similarly, I'm gonna go ahead and do that for my ground. These butt connectors again. All I'm doing is extending my wiring. What I would advise is just not to rush, never to rush on any of these things when you're doing wiring. You want the best connectivity, and so now these are ready to go. You can see connected. So now I'm gonna take this in, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and warm up my heat gun again. Let that cool down. So I'll move some stuff out the way because I want to clear out our station. At this point, we're basically toward the very end. There's really not much else for me to do other than connect. I don't like to connect with my wires when they're just heated up. I always give it a little bit of time. So got my wiring done. So I'm gonna get some zip tie. Again, this is the part where we're focused on the result, which is typically for me what it looks like right after the install. So I got some zip ties. So this is my power. Again, 12 volt. You know, your red is power, ground. Remember, red, power to blue. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect. See how it goes all the way through? Then I connect to blue. And then I make sure I get a tight harness and it's connected. Black, ground to black. So again, I take it all the way out. Do not just loosen it and think you're getting it through. I think that's really not the most effective way. Make sure you get all the way through that line and then you start screwing it back in. Another way of checking to see how tight it is that you should not be able to pull this out. These are very, I don't like how this one is actually too much of the wire is exposed right now. So I'm not a fan of that. So I'm gonna redo it. So one thing is that I could, in this instance, bend it so I can get more of the wire to touch our connector, and also to really prevent any exposed wire. So I like it much better now. So now I have all this wire. So I'm gonna take my zip tie in a bit, not now. I'm gonna grab my connector because this is the part that's important. We're gonna reconnect everything. So how do we get all the connectors back? So this is the part where you have to get all the wires back in, secured. And then also, but you don't want to push it in yet. If you push it in already, what happened is it's not gonna line up with your hooks. So try to line up the other snap everything in like this, and there's some wire that is still exposed here. So I think I got all my wires in except for this black one. It's okay, because what's gonna happen is when I pop this in, see how everything's inside? See how everything, all the wires back? But I was only able to do that because I got so low on my taps. Push it back in. You hear it click. Everything snapped. Again, check all the connections. You see how on the bottom, that's where it taps. On my connector. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it back in. Snap. So I'm now gonna go ahead and try to hide these wires, probably underneath my my headlight, so like right here. So I'm just gonna go wrap all these wires up. And I'm gonna really just zip tie it just like that. I think my zip tie is right here. Yep. So that if John ever wanted to, he can come in and adjust his module right here, just like that. This is what it looks like, the result. So why did we include the module? If John come on this side and he can look directly at the light. In fact, I think this will show it too. We'll see if I can get it higher. When we adjust the module, you'll see it shortly what I mean by adjusting the module. I can make the module, if I wanted to, not as bright. So here's my module light. So I actually just press light. So if you look at my light, I just dimmed it. You see how it gets brighter and brighter? And then dim. Now it's very subtle, but it makes a difference. It depends on your mood, obviously. So this is the dimmest, brighter, number 2, 3, 4, 5 is the brightest. 6 is the brightest, I think. Well, I think it's 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 brightness. So again, it's the lowest one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The memory will retain itself. There are other features on this as well. We're not gonna do it because it's emergency use, but you can actually, if John wanted to have a party, we're gonna have a party. We could totally have a party. You can also have more of a simmer. This is, and then there's one where it's, let me see if I can do it. You see how I can make it glow like candles? That's literally like glowing like candles. We're not gonna do that right now. We're just gonna keep it on. Go ahead and go back to this mode. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's how you control it. I think that's really neat. We include that in there. It's a really cool thing to do. You can show your friends, like, hey, check out my emblem. But I think that concludes. We're gonna put everything back together and show you how everything looks like when it's all reassembled. All right, we're good. So Morse code installed. Here it is, unveiling. Unlock door, please. All right, we're gonna go ahead and lock the door again really quickly. Just turn it off. Make sure the behavior is good. We're gonna go to the back this time. Same thing. Morse code, rear tail light behavior, unlock door. So I'm gonna go walk around really quickly. See the different. Remember, it does time out if you don't start your car. And